You're exhausted by the idea of fixing your life, but deep down, you know your current patterns are becoming completely unsustainable. This video is for you. Because maybe you've tried to change before. Maybe you've read books, maybe you watched videos, you've downloaded that silly habit tracker, and you promised yourself, this time I'm going to be a different person. And then somehow, a few days later, the old version comes back. The same habits, same avoidance, the same relationship patterns, the same self-doubt, and this quiet feeling of, why am I still like this? So no, I'm not going to tell you that you can magically heal your trauma, you can just build your confidence, you can change your life, fix your relationship patterns, your money and your mindset in 24 hours, because that would be ridiculous. But you can do something powerful in 24 hours that most people fail to do for years. You can finally tell yourself the truth. And more specifically, you can see the hidden goal behind your behavior. Because the thing you keep calling a bad habit might actually not be a flaw. It might just be protection. And once you see what you're really protecting, you really can't unsee it. And this is why I created a 24-hour reset guide, which is completely free. It's not a huge workbook, it's 2 pages, and there's one specific exercise called the Antivision. And it's probably the most uncomfortable, but also the most important thing you will do. So as you're watching this, don't worry about writing anything down. All the prompts that I mentioned in this video is in that guide. I recently read an article written by Dan Koe and it was called How to Fix Your Entire Life in One Day. And obviously the title is clickbait, but it works on me. I clicked. But underneath that dramatic title, there was actually a very interesting psychological idea. Most people don't fail to change because they lack information. They fail to change because they're trying to build their life from an old identity. And that's powerful stuff because most of us already know what we need to do, right? We know we should move our bodies. We know we should stop doom scrolling. We know we should stop checking if that other person's replied. We know we should stop tolerating breadcrumbs. We know that we need to start that project or tell the truth. Most people are not short on advice. We are actually drowning in advice. There are books, there's podcasts, there's TikToks, there's morning routines, newsletters, and yet people stay stuck, which means the problem is probably not information. It's not even motivation, because honestly, motivation actually comes and goes. You can watch one video and feel like your whole life is about to change, right? You'll get that little emotional high and you'll think, that's it. Tomorrow I'm going to be a new person. And then tomorrow comes and you are still the same person with the same phone, the same thoughts, the same avoidance, the same identity. And that's the part we don't talk about enough. Change is not about what you do, it's about who you are unconsciously committed to being. I want you to know your bad habit is not random. This is where we need to stop being so simplistic with ourselves, because a lot of self-help makes it sound like you're not changing because you're lazy, because you lack discipline, or because worst, you don't want it bad enough and you're not trying hard enough. But psychologically, I don't think that's always true. Sometimes the behavior you hate is actually doing something for you. It is protecting you. Let's say you keep procrastinating on something you really care about, right? Maybe it's building a YouTube channel, maybe it's a business, maybe it's a book, maybe you want to start a new career or a creative project. Now on the surface, you might say, I'm lazy, I'm inconsistent, or I have no discipline. But underneath all that, there might be a hidden goal. Maybe the real goal is, I don't want to be judged. I don't want to find out that I'm not good enough, or I don't want to try properly and still fail. So the procrastination is not random. It's protecting your identity, because as long as you don't finish the thing, you still get to keep this fantasy version of yourself alive. You can still say things like, I could have done really well if I tried really hard. But finishing it, publishing it, letting people see it, now that forces you to meet reality, and reality can be terrifying. So the bad habit is not just self-sabotage, it's also self-protection. Or let's say you keep choosing emotionally unavailable people. Now on the surface, you might say, I want love, and maybe you do. But maybe another hidden goal could be that longing feels safer than intimacy. Maybe chasing feels safer than being chosen. Maybe being with someone unavailable means you never have to show your true self. Maybe if they're distant, you get to stay in fantasy and you get to want love without actually having to fully receive it. Now that doesn't mean you're doing this consciously. It doesn't mean that you're manipulative. It just means that our brains are actually wired for safety over growth. And sometimes we say we want one thing, but our body is literally programmed to keep us right where we are, because that's what keeps us safe. This is why Fixing your life cannot just be about fixing your morning routine. Because if your hidden goal is safety, no planner in this world is going to change that and make you brave. If your hidden goal is approval, no productivity system is going to make you free. And if your hidden goal is avoiding shame, no 5-step plan is going to make you visible. You have to ask yourself, what am I actually trying to protect? And that is exactly what the guide helps you uncover, because your life is already telling you who you're practicing being. Not your intentions, not your fantasy, not your Pinterest board, your actual life. The way you spend your time, the people that you keep replying to, the things you keep avoiding, the conversations you keep delaying, the habits you keep repeating, and the standards you keep accepting. Your life right now is revealing what your current identity is committed to being. And I know that sounds harsh, but I really don't mean it in a shame-based way. I genuinely mean it from an honest perspective. Because we all have a gap between the person we say we want to become and the person our behavior keeps proving we are. So you might say, I want peace, but then you keep choosing chaos. You might say, I want love, but then you keep choosing people who make you feel anxious all the time. You might say you want a creative life, but you keep hiding your brilliant ideas. You might say I want freedom, but you keep making decisions based on what other people might think. And this is why 24 hours of honest reflection can be incredibly powerful. Not because you're going to magically transform into a new person, because you stop lying to yourself about the person that you're currently practicing being. And this is where real change begins. It doesn't begin with hatred, it doesn't begin with shame, but it begins with accuracy. Because you can't change a pattern you keep romanticizing. You have to see who you're practicing being today is only half the story. To really change, you have to have a look at where that person is actually taking you. One of the most powerful parts of Dan Koe's article is this idea of looking at both your vision, but also your anti-vision. Not just the life you want, which everyone talks about, but the life that you are heading towards if nothing changes. And I think this is so important because most people are actually really honest about what they fear than what they desire. So let's do this for a second, right? Imagine nothing changes. You keep making the same choices. You keep avoiding the same things. You keep saying, I'll do it when I feel ready. You keep tolerating people that drain you. You keep postponing the things that you want. 5 years pass. What does your day look like? Where do you wake up? How does your body feel? Who are you waiting to hear from? What dreams of yours have you made peace with and abandoned? Who do you keep complaining about? And who do you envy? That is the antivision. This is not there to scare you for the sake of it. It's actually here to create honesty. Because sometimes the life that you don't want is already being built by the habits you refuse to question. Not overnight, slowly, quietly, through tiny acts of self-abandonment. And that's why this can feel so emotional, because you suddenly realize, okay, you know what? I'm not standing still. I am moving, just not in the direction I want to go. So here's what you got to do to fix your life in 24 hours, because the point of this video is not cause you to have a breakdown. The point is to interrupt the pattern, and that's it. Most people, they stay stuck because they don't pause long enough to notice what they're repeating. They just keep reacting to the same habits, the same person, the same avoidance, the same story, and same betrayal of themselves. And then they wonder, why is nothing in my life changing? So the reset is actually very simple. You can try and break it down in 3 parts. Spend 5 minutes at each part of the day. In the morning, you tell the truth. In the afternoon, you start noticing the pattern. And in the evening, you choose one different action. That's it. Because you don't need a perfect life plan before you move. You just need one honest moment where you stop pretending. You need one clear pattern you can finally name. You just need one small action that gives your brain new evidence. Not in a huge, dramatic, transformative way. It's just evidence. Evidence that says, I am not doing that old thing today. And that's why I made this guide for you. Because I don't want you to watch this video, feel inspired for 5 minutes, and then go back to the same old pattern tomorrow. All I want you to do is these 3 steps. I want you to print it, fill it, pin it somewhere visible, because when the old identity tries to come back, and I promise you it will, you need something outside of your head. You need something visual to remind you of who you're becoming. And one of the reasons this feels so hard is because when you change, you may feel like you are betraying the old version of you that survived a lot of things. So imagine if you became confident, what happens to the part of you that learned to stay small? If you become visible, what happens to the part of you that always hid to stay safe? And if you start choosing healthier love, you're probably going to be single for a while because secure partners are a rare breed. This is why change is not always exciting. It can actually feel like grief because not only are you becoming someone new, but you're also leaving an old version behind. And this old version, it may have protected you. Let's call her Betty because I'm highly unoriginal. So Betty, she may have helped you survive. Betty may have kept you safe, that you didn't risk too much or want too much or need too much. So she may have done the best that she could with the tools she had. And maybe we don't need to hate the old version of ourselves. Maybe we need to thank her and then stop letting her drive, because the version of you that actually protected you from the pain may not be the version that's going to help you build the life that you actually want. And that's really hard because the old identity is actually familiar. But growth is asking for something different from you. It asks you to stop confusing familiarity with safety. So you don't need a new life. You just need a new relationship with truth. So can you fix your life in 24 hours? I would say absolutely yes. Not in a magical unicorn kind of way. You're not going to wake up tomorrow with perfect discipline, your healed attachment wounds, a six-figure business, or a glowing skin, or a totally regulated nervous system. But you can absolutely ruin the illusion in 24 hours. You can see the pattern, you can name the hidden goal, you can admit what you want, and you can actually admit what you are afraid of. You can look at the future you're currently building and decide, I don't want to arrive there. And that matters because most people are not stuck because they are incapable. They are stuck because they're still negotiating with a life that they have completely outgrown. So they're waiting for confidence, they're waiting for clarity, they're waiting for this right time, waiting to feel ready. But readiness is often something you build after you start, not before. And once you know the truth, once you know you have a problem, you can't unknow it. You can't keep calling it confusion. You can't keep pretending that the pattern is random. You can't keep saying you don't know what you want from your life when your life is literally showing you where the cracks are, where the leak is. And that's the beginning. That's the quiet beginning, the moment you stop asking your life to change while you keep choosing the same identity. I would love for you to download the guide and do the 24-hour reset because I absolutely know this is going to help you. And if watching this video has helped you, which I truly hope it has, then I would love for you to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you also hit the notification button because there's lots of new videos coming up and I don't want you to miss out on that. Also, if you can, let me know in the comments what's the one thing you are going to stop doing tomorrow. And if you've got any feedback or any other type of videos you would like me to make, let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much for staying with me and I'll see you in the next video.